Yo, what is going on, people? You're live with 101. Actually, forget 101. You're live with the Premier League Football Forum show. How is everybody doing? Got a nice house today to talk about the weekend's upcoming games. Tony, what is going on, my brother? How are you doing?
All good, brother. All good.
Yeah, Neil, welcome back, Neil. If you guys haven't caught our Arsenal versus Liverpool preview, which is up on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, then please check it out. It's on the channel. You'll be able to see us talking about Arsenal versus Liverpool. It's a pretty good podcast. Let me know what you guys think of it. Andy, what is going on, mate? How you doing? Fixing your video?
I'm all right. I'm just having a few technical problems tonight.
Yeah, but Andy's still doing good. Darren, what's going on, Darren? How you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me okay, can you?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. It just the video's stuttering a little bit, but it looks like it's okay. The nearer you are to your router, the probably better you'll be. But guys, we have a full house. And
Well,
I'm going to pave over the scores because we really have to talk about the new management appointments this week. I think that's going to really take up the bulk of what we need to talk about. So let me just dive into it straight away and bring up the scores from last week. Where are we? Here we are. And I'm just going to open up the floor so that we can just go ad hoc about the scores. Guys, I'm going to open the floor. Tell me what your thoughts are on last season. Which games really stood out to you guys as the top games, the most important games to watch?
Well,
clearly, it was the Liverpool-West Ham game.
Sorry, Neil.
So I was going to say it was definitely the West Ham-Liverpool game and the shock surprise with the score.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, clearly I was disappointed because obviously I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm hoping that we pull it back together for this week. But yeah, that was a game for me. But not to take anything away from West Ham, they played really well. But then they've been playing well for the past, since the beginning of the season, to be honest. So it's not really surprising that they can pull out a result like that.
Yeah, so I agree with Neil. That was the game that really took the eye. Obviously, anytime you get a 5-goal thriller, that's definitely going to be worth a watch. The goals were good quality goals. And yeah, as you said, all credit to West Ham. They've been doing it since the start of the season. Their place in the table looks well deserved at this stage, and they're definitely one to watch.
Wow, there's a lot going on. Before I go to Andy, you guys know that Kevin De Bruyne has just tested positive for COVID. Yeah. And in the last 20 minutes, Eddie Howe, Newcastle's new boss, he's going to miss his first game in charge. He's tested positive as well.
Wow.
I sent you that hours ago.
Yeah. It's mad, mate. It's absolutely mad what's going on right now. Just entering the winter process and everything is rife. And I'm expecting things to get worse, not better at our current rate. I don't know how that's going to affect football again. We just have to keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best, I guess.
Is there any news on any of the Arsenal players going down with COVID for tomorrow?
Well, they pretty much suffered from it in week 1, didn't they? Week 1, 2, and 3, where they had 6 players out.
That's not the answer I want to hear for tomorrow's game, mate.
Oh man, they pretty much struggled with it earlier on, so it's going to be one of those things. Andy,
COVID in sport has had a big highlight this week because we've had Aaron Rodgers in the States with a big issue, but just today or within the last 24 hours, Antonio Brown has been caught using or potentially using fake vaccine certificate.
Wow.
It's bad. I mean, Aaron Rodgers went and used this silly nose spray, which they said doesn't work, and then told them when they said to him, "Are you vaccinated?" He said, "I'm immunized." So he was just really trying to pull the wool over their eyes. Yeah, it's absolutely straight. I've never seen it before. I've not seen it before. It's crazy. And he's just talking about the spray that you can buy, which sort of protects it gives you minimum protection in the flu season. It's readily available. People have known
the
about
nasal
it for quite
sprays.
a while. Yeah, nasal spray. So he tried to use that against a COVID virus. I mean, that is just bonkers. The fact that it can enter through your mouth or through your eyes as well is, you know, what is putting it in your nose going to do? A lot of people, they get, when they have it on their hands and they don't wash their hands and things like that, they sort of have their hands all around their face, their mouth, rubbing their eyes and things like that. It's crazy. It's just crazy. But Andy, what game stood out for you last week? What results stood out for you?
Well, obviously the West Ham result was probably the most notable of all the results. But was that when Chelsea also drew with Burnley?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think the biggest result was Brentford losing to Norwich.
Yeah,
Well, that
At
was a
home.
big result, particularly given that they then chose to sack Barker after he won his first game of the season.
Oh, that's bonkers.
But I think my guess is they made that decision before the game, to be honest. But
Yeah, I mean, from what I heard, and you know, I can only tell you what football agents are talking about, but from what I heard is the chairman after the game was like, well, that's what we need to do in order to move forward. And I think the manager got angry because he's saying, well, that's what we've been doing every week. You know, nothing's changed. We just won a game. Like the whole setup, the preparation, everything's been the same. So I think that sparked off basically where the owner was saying that the manager weren't doing his job and he was doing it that weekend. And the whole thing just deteriorated after that. And, you know, we see it happen on movie sets all the time where there's sort of a disagreement on the direction of where the plan is going. And yeah, it was a shame. It looks bad on the outside because they won a game. But what's your, obviously we're going to talk about Dean Smith later on and Steven Gerrard and Kante. We're going to have our 2 cents there. But yeah, I think for me, I think that the Brentford game was the biggest shock to me because Brentford have been solid at home. So yeah, that was a strange one for me. What else surprised you guys? Darren, was you surprised by any results last week?
Just looking through the results there now. I mean, Southampton getting a win at Villa there. I mean, where'd that come from? Let's have a look. New Arsenal. No, I'm joking. Arsenal getting a bit of Watford, you know. Obviously, West Ham beating Liverpool was massive. Liverpool, I thought, you know, they looked imperious. They looked like back to the time when you just check the results, you think, well, Liverpool win, and then suddenly they lose. You're like, oh, okay, but then the season does look like it's going like that this year. You know, some of the big teams aren't just rolling away with it, which is good for Man United because we're struggling. So
what's your thoughts on the Man United game, Man City? Obviously, City are champions, isn't it? So that's going to be tough for anybody. But did you expect a little bit more playing at Old Trafford?
Thing is, City can do that to any team, and
Agreed.
They've done it to us before, and we've got better results. I mean, we've got some results where we've stolen points there, but the result looks good. But they've played us off the park, and I expected it. If I'm honest, I mean, we played poorly. The centre midfield is just horrendous. There's no surprises there. I did think we put up a better fight. I thought we'd be better on the counter attack, but you know, Pep masterclass pinned our fullbacks back, and as soon as they did that, their fullbacks were just good enough to dictate play. And yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was going to be as one-sided, but I was fearful of that day. We needed to score that left foot volley, half volley. I think Ronaldo had. They're the type of chances in games like that where if Man United can nick that, if that left foot volley flies in the bottom corner, then it might be a slightly different game. But other than that,
I mean, where would Man United be this season without Ronaldo? I mean, he's just he's saving their skin right now.
Yeah, but it's one of those ones where we have to sign him because you obviously don't want him to go to City. I don't think we should have signed him if we had a strategy, therefore a young striker that we're going to go for. But you look at our strikers other than Cavani, he doesn't play week in, week out, which is the problem. I mean, if you can guarantee Cavani week in, week out, you don't sign Ronaldo for me. Cavani is all action, close the defence down, and he can get you goals, which is great. Which lends to how Ollie, I think, wants to play his football. Ronaldo, unreal, bows you out of games, but doesn't really offer you the style of football you're looking for. So it's one of those, isn't it? But then I was looking at our front line and thinking, well, if Cavani ain't playing, then you're stuck with Martial, and he's just a Pogba up front. He's annoying. So you got to bring in Ronaldo because we ain't finding anyone else. So it's one of those. I don't know. It's the mess that Man United are in. We don't know where to go. We don't know what direction we're going in. Who's making decisions? People that aren't football people. Like, I don't know. It's a tough one. Yeah, but where would we be without his goal? Jesus Christ, it's hard to think.
Yeah, true. So, evening, sorry, Tony, go on.
I was going to say to Darren, I mean, is the signing of Ronaldo not the type of thing that makes a manager show how good he is? Because what you have to do is you have to play to a guy's strengths.
Yeah.
So if you have to rework a system, then that's what we're looking at. We're looking at whether the manager is good enough to make his system work around a particular player who brings a very unique set of skills to the table.
Yeah.
You know, this is the kind of thing that in American football happens all the time. You know, you bring in a certain player and all of a sudden you've got to get schemes. You know, you've got to start operating certain drills to go, okay.
Well, what I think Ollie was caught. He's caught in a. So he tried to build pass away, attack, width, and then suddenly you drop Ronaldo in there. And I think what Mourinho did with Ronaldo.
I think we may have lost him there for a minute.
Darren's frozen.
Hello, go ahead, Darren.
Can I say something?
Hello, you there?
But
My bad.
Yeah, go on, Mr. Green Screen. We got a green screen there.
My back green on your
Go on, Andy.
Sorry, am I back in? Sorry.
Darren's back in. Yeah, go on,
Yeah,
Darren.
you're back in, Darren. Yeah.
I think the United thing with Ronaldo is an interesting one because if you've got Ronaldo, then you kind of have to play him because, as Tony was saying about, you know, he brings a unique set of skills to the table. He can win you football matches because, and he has done. He's won and he's got them plenty of points, and you know, got them. They'd be nowhere in the Champions League if it wasn't for Ronaldo this season. The only problem is it's meant they've had to change their whole style in order to accommodate Ronaldo. And
have I gone again?
The United fan was saying.
You're here, Darren. Go on, Andy.
Sorry.
Like he was saying, that they've had to change their entire style to accommodate Ronaldo. And you've basically got Ronaldo, Fernandes, and Pogba. You can't have all three of those really in the same team. Maximum, you can have two. Arguably, you maybe only really can have one of them, but certainly no more than two.
Andy,
because
I mean, the thing,
people doing the work.
But Andy, I would say to you this. I look at those three players as three of the best players in the Man United team. And I would say to you this. You take two of the three of them out, and the quality that comes in can't replace them by a country mile. Because Tony,
football is a team. Football is a team game.
I appreciate that, but let's be honest. Let's be honest. Fernandes and
I can hear you, Dan.
Goals and his assists last year make Man United the team that finished in the top four. So you can't take out Bruno Fernandes, but he is undoubtedly a luxury player for that Man United team. Yeah. Then you've got Ronaldo, who this season has become what Bruno Fernandes was last year.
Yeah, because everything went through Bruno Fernandes last year.
That's my point.
And then you've got, let me finish, Andy. Then you've got the mercurial skills of Paul Pogba, who at any given moment in time can do so much. Because don't forget, I think it was only the season before that he was the top assist king. Yeah. Yeah. And when I look at this guy play for France, I see world-class players.
Yeah, he's underused at Man United.
Tony, let me say something. In Spain or in Italy or France, those three could play in the same team, in a Real Madrid or a Barcelona or in a Juventus or Paris Saint-Germain. Those three could all play in the same team. In the Premier League, where it's very unique set of intensity, passion, power, pace.
You watch City and Liverpool.
You cannot have all three of those players in that side. It doesn't work because they get overpowered.
Yeah, you watch City and Liverpool. Their wide men are some of the best players in the league, without doubt. Technically, ability, goal scoring, but you watch them work. Kevin De Bruyne is one of the best centre midfielders you've ever seen. You watch his work rate, whereas you watch Manchester United and you see Greenwood, undoubted talent, unbelievable. Bruno, unbelievable. Ronaldo, unbelievable. Pogba, but none of them want to do anything off the ball. It's arrogance. It's arrogance to think that you can just swan around a football pitch at that level, win leads with that lack of effort. It amazes me to watch. I can't believe Michael Carrick and Ollie are watching that going, oh yeah, you know, that's how we want to play football. It's mind-boggling. They don't run, they don't chase. They just think we're going to win in moments. You can't win leagues in moments. You can't.
Oh, let's see what the guys are saying on the panel. Kurt is saying, evening, match that stood out for me was Everton Spurs, new manager, but 0 shots on target. Yeah, I think that's a problem that is going to be a work in progress, just like it was for Arteta last season. Cool K says, Darren knows his stuff. Nice. Yeah, man, Darren's a hardcore Man United fan. He says, Klopp just said in his press conference, we've been lucky. Hope Arteta is pacing like a wolf right now. Yeah, you know, I was listening to David Ornstein talking to Sky today, and it's like, he was saying the same thing. He said, Arsenal hadn't really played anybody. And I was like, what is this guy talking about? No, listen to what I'm saying, right? This is the most irritating thing I've ever heard from pundits and football fans alike. Let me explain something very clear and very simple. Arsenal have to play exactly the same teams as everybody else, period. So whatever points we're on now, sorry?
But you haven't yet.
So hold on, Villa, Spurs and Leicester.
And Man City.
Exactly.
And Chelsea.
Well, the fact of the matter is we're in fifth place. Yeah, but look at the points that we've got. We're in fifth.
Look at your unbeaten run. Tell me who you've played.
I just did.
Who?
I just told you we've played Spurs, Villa, and Leicester. Those are the teams we've beaten. And
where are they in the table?
And Brighton. They're all in the top half of the table.
The one thing I've noticed about Arsenal,
but this is the thing, Andy. When Christmas comes, you'd have gone through half the season, which means hold on, Andy.
Comes, talk to us then and see where you are at Christmas.
Every team would have played 19 games, and every team would have played exactly the same amount of teams as everybody else.
Where you are at Christmas.
Yeah. So when you hear people are talking, it's just bonkers. It's just like what. It's such a, and then you know what? When you continue to play that, nobody's going to talk about it then, but they're talking about it now. It's like you're not getting any credit for doing anything. Last season, we were losing to those teams.
You get credit for winning the matches, absolutely.
Yeah, but last season we were losing to those teams.
You've been on a really good run, but you haven't beaten anyone of note in that run.
Yeah, I disagree.
Leicester was a good win. Leicester was a very good
win. I'm glad you see Spurs like that, Andy.
Yeah, I disagree.
Spurs this season, absolutely.
Yeah.
So far, I think you're going to see a different animal after Christmas.
Yeah, Spurs are our rivals. Brighton, I don't understand how you guys are disrespecting Brighton. They're our rivals. Leicester City are our rivals. We can say Aston Villa, but Aston Villa really wasn't pacing for
every team in the league. Every team in the league are rivals.
Literally, yeah.
Every team is a rival.
The one thing that stands out for me about Arsenal is it's been a bit of a laughing stock the last couple of years, like in terms of some of your results where you finished, blah blah blah. But what I was saying is there was about 5 or 6 games ago, I looked at your team sheet and thought, hang about this. The team sheet's come together now. You look at your midfield, you look at your centre backs. The right back looks decent. Like before, it was Bellerin, and you were like, "Oh, this kid had his time about 6 years ago." Now you look at your midfield, keep Kante fit. You've got Smith Rowe in there, Saka. And I looked at the side and I thought, wow, that's actually an Arsenal side that I'm actually fearful of. Whereas recently, you'd win your home games, you'd go on a little run, you'd all get all buzzy and be like, oh, we're going to win the league. But then when it comes to your away games, that's when you fall down. I looked at your starting 11 a few games ago and thought, that is a team that's coming together, definitely. Gabriel, Partey, that's a start in there. They're very good players, very good players. Your right back looks decent. I think what the White.
And the funny thing about that,
yeah.
The funny thing about that, Darren, is that Bellerin just turned 25 this year.
Yeah, I know. What happened to him?
It's supposed to be entering his prime.
He's been on the gear.
Yeah, for real, mate. G says Kurt just gave respect to Tony for his top there. That's a big time Marley top right there. Ajax in the house. G says if we don't have Partey, we are screwed. I'm not sure about that because I like Maitland-Niles in the middle. I'll keep my upset prediction, but now I feel less confident for sure. No, Partey's fit, mate. Partey was training today. He was at London Colney training, so he's going to make it. With that, he might start from the bench though.
Football is all about your centre midfield. Like Manchester United have got all these great players, and like you said, Greenwood, Bruno, football players any team would dream of. Our midfield is below me. I like Scott McTominay and I like Fred, but they're players you bring on in the FA Cup or when your main players get injured. And they're your squad players. They're your Nicky Butts, your John O'Shea's. They're good players in the squad. But Man United ain't doing shit with no good midfielders. Like you're missing a
Darren Fletcher, mate.
Well, not just that. You're missing top players. Like midfield is where you win leagues. You control games. Man United can't control games. Bruno is great at your moments. You don't get the ball. You don't tick it around. You need those players that are technically good that can pick it up.
Guys, you guys need to remember that it's a team you're talking about, not individual players.
Yeah, and that's why Man United won't win anything because our midfield is so poor at keeping the ball. We don't. It's just so.
Yeah, but that's where your other players come into it. That's where your other players come into it, and you play as a team. So if somebody is weak, it's going to be covered by your other players, and that's what you guys need to get back to doing: is playing as a team. Bringing in, without being funny, bringing in Ronaldo, you brought in a star, a man who plays to his own, the own beat of his drum. And then trying to fix the team around him with such short notice and expecting the team to actually do well, good luck to that, mate. Good luck to that.
There doesn't seem to be a plan at United. I'm not sure what their direction or purpose is. They've got some amazing players, but to have made that work, he needed a full pre-season with that team.
Yeah.
To just drop Ronaldo on him at the last minute and try to rework everything. That for me, it's one of those decisions that you can't blame them for making, for bringing him in, because he is a superstar. But at the same time, I'm not sure what that tells us about the direction of Man United Football Club right now, because it doesn't seem to me when you've got the likes of you buy Sancho for 75 million, then you don't play.
I was going to mention Sancho, that they brought in Sancho, and where is he? What's he doing? He's warming the bench at the moment, isn't he?
Well,
that's not strange though. You look at Havertz at Chelsea. He was tearing up the German league. Now he's taking. So it's just because it's Manchester United.
It takes time.
Everyone focuses in on Manchester United. Oh, he hasn't. That's we're the buzzword. He's not playing.
But Havertz was playing.
Havertz is the same, and Werner's the same. They've come from a German league. They've got taken time to fit in. They were both cost the same amount of money. They're both probably bigger stars than Sancho. Havertz was lauded as the next big thing. He's been average, below average. So those things take time. But I think before I cut out earlier, what I was saying about Manchester United is the Ronaldo signing. It's like Ollie was going in a certain direction, and I liked it. And he ticked all the boxes that I wanted from after Mourinho. Mourinho was a shit show and left us in a mess. And he's ticked all the boxes that I wanted. Get rid of all the average players, Fellaini's, Herrera. Well, Herrera's okay, but Fellaini's, etc. Bring in top good players. But have a direction, what you want to play. And a part of me feels like the Ronaldo thing sort of thrown that into like a bit of what do I do now? Because now I haven't got a forward that does what I want to do, and that's shut down defenders. So how do you now? He's got to change his style to fit this guy in. And I think he's caught in a bit of a, what do I do? Do I just do the defensive thing like Mourinho did with Ronaldo when he had Ronaldo Real Madrid? He's just defensive, and then they'd break. And Ronaldo scored, I think, a shed load of goals. He scored loads of goals that year, but it was primarily a defensive team. And
I think right now Ronaldo is keeping Oli in a job.
Ronaldo is papering over the cracks. That's what he's doing right now, because everybody's focusing on him and not looking at your defenders like Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire. They have not been great this season. I'm not even sure why would be considered to get into the England squad. They've been crap all season. Being a Liverpool fan, I think that's great.
Maguire's been unfit.
Maguire, it's unfair to him. He's been unfit.
Yeah. So 18's making me laugh. He's saying Pogba is underused at Man United and Xhaka is overused at Arsenal.
Pogba's had his 5 games. Pogba's had his main 5 games. He's had his 5 games where he assists, he scores, and everyone thinks he's amazing, and then he goes missing. I'm done with that bloke.
So Xhaka, on the other hand, plays every single game for Arsenal and doesn't assist or doesn't score. So I would do a swap in a heartbeat. Tony, would you take that deal? Deal or no deal?
100%. 100%.
Bertram, would you take that deal? Bertram's in the house at the moment.
Hey,
Bertram's saying, no, it wasn't. He's talking about the Jamaica USA game. G talking some shit right there, always giving us banter. Ooh. I know he talking that smack every single week. If you guys wasn't aware, Jamaica drawed USA 1-0, which is but you know, it like Bertram says, G, did you watch the game? If you did, you would have heard all the US commentators say the last-minute header was a goal and should not have been disallowed. Jimmy Jones is saying 3 points is all he cares about with Arsenal and Liverpool. And also, this is just a measure of where we're at. Win, lose, or draw, I will be there. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, my brother. That's what I'm talking about. But, guys, let's move on to the managers. There's been 3 new managers over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Kante to Spurs, Steven Gerrard to Villa, and Smith at Norwich. So I want to open up the floor. Again, you guys, we don't have to take it in turns. We can open up the floor because this is a nice, relaxed Friday night, and we're here for another half an hour.
Let's start with Smith. Let's start with Dean Smith at Norwich.
Oh, really? Because
what was he thinking? Seriously, what was he thinking?
He was thinking that no other Premiership team is going to give him a job, and he was probably right.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but come on, man. I mean, look, whenever somebody takes over a team like Norwich, you know you're going down. That does not do anything good for your reputation.
And I think that's why Lampard didn't go there. I think Lampard thought, if I get stuck there, I'm stuck down in the league. I'm in the Championship, and I'm known as the Championship manager. Then that's what.
Sorry,
Neil. If you really think you're good, yeah, you should test your waters in your metal in lower pastures.
No, I get that.
The managers who I really admire are the ones who take lower league teams and bring them through the ranks. Yeah. So someone like Eddie Howe, yeah, who's brought teams from lower divisions up to the promised land. Those are the managers I respect the most. Guys like Mourinho, who have all the money and play teams that have got all the riches. For me, I'm not really overly impressed.
No, I get what you're saying, because I think the same thing about Pep Guardiola, right? He hasn't gone to a team that's been middle of the table. He's gone to top teams. Yeah, 100%. So he hasn't been tested. And the funny thing is, this is what made me laugh. The first season he took over, did they win that league? Considering they won the league the season before. Yeah. He had a ready-made championship side, and he still couldn't win it in his first season.
Yeah, and Arsenal knocked them out in the semi-final of the FA Cup because they were going for that.
There you go. And that's what I'm saying. For me, I don't rate Guardiola as a great manager. He's an okay manager, but he's had the money and he's picked up the teams. When he picked up Barcelona, where were they?
Yeah.
Bayern Munich, where were they?
Me and Andy and Drew and Bertram and Tony, we have this debate all the time. And for me, if you play Football Manager or if you play fantasy football, Barclays League or whatever, what do? You pick the best players. You're given a certain amount of salary cap, and you try to make it work, right?
Exactly.
This guy has no salary cap. So could you imagine playing Barclays fantasy football and just looking at all the top players with the most points and saying, I'll have that one, I'll choose that. That's what no manager outside of Jose Mourinho has spent more money over the last 10 years.
Exactly.
And when you're doing that, that's like, look, you know, I used to be a sprinter, and when I see all these guys who are clean running against all these guys who are doping, it ain't fair. So, but it doesn't matter because the doping is ahead of the tests. No matter which way you look at it, the doping is so technically far ahead to what they can actually measure. There's new drugs coming out that these testers ain't even heard of. So you know what it is. It is.
I think it's unfair to dismiss Guardiola as being average or only good because he's got all the money. I think
he hasn't proved it any other way.
Teams, they are exceptional football teams. Barcelona were, Manchester City now. When you watch them play, they control football matches. Yeah. And that's the way they control them.
Football's like I've never seen before. Even that.
But that's because they can.
They can say to their 40 million goalkeeper, you can't pass the left back. I got a 60 million goalkeeper here, so I just fucking bring him instead. Like, that is mad. That's mad.
Andy,
I can't hear anything that Darren's saying. I haven't been able to hear anything that Darren said all night. I don't know why.
Oh, okay, that's strange. I can hear him. He's cutting slightly on his
connection. Cutting in and out. But yeah, my point is you have. I agree with you that just having all the money to spend, you've got to question how good Guardiola would be taking over a mid-table side. Exactly. I agree with that argument, but you also have to admire how gifted the teams that he plays and the way they play. Manchester City are an exceptional football team. His achievements with Manchester City are exceptional.
They were exceptional before he got there.
Team to watch, and so were Barcelona in their heyday.
Barcelona was exceptional before he got there.
Darren, do you have a set of headphones? If you do, can you plug it in?
Were not exceptional before Guardiola.
They were winning. They won the league before he got there.
Yeah.
They won the league before he got there, but not in the way
at the time he took over, they were the best team in the country.
But do you know what I'm saying?
He hasn't gone somewhere where the team is like, all right, even say top 5. He hasn't gone somewhere where there's a team of top 5 and he's taken them and made them champions.
Let me give you the example that I gave to Drew. Yeah, when me and Drew did
talking about the quality of the football.
Yeah, but again, let me give you the same example I gave to Drew. When teams have got a problem, it takes them a while to go through the transition to solve the problem.
Exactly.
In that first season that he joined, what he did the next summer is spent 400 million on defenders, including Mendy and Walker. We all know that was a big thing for them. That's how quickly you can turn a problem around. You spend 400 million on defense. Who does that? No team in the world has ever done that.
City do that, and Newcastle will be doing that next season.
Well, yeah, I agree. Newcastle will be doing that. It really depends what they do in terms of the new rules that they're trying to suffocate Newcastle spend with the FFP and all of that. But whether they will get away with that or not, I don't know. But the bottom line is, we digress, is that Man City had a problem defensively, and they spent nearly $500 million. Who does that?
It was 200 million.
No, I can bring. All right, let me try and bring it up for you. You guys carry on talking. I'll try and bring it up.
On defenders alone, on just defenders, was 200 million. It's still an obscene amount of money.
Still an obscene amount of money.
400 million on defenders.
I mean, for me,
obscene amount of money, Andy. That's
for me.
I agree with you. It's an obscene amount of money. What I'm saying is it wasn't 400 million. I was just taking issue with the point.
Yeah, it was, because I covered it. You probably didn't see the review I did with Drew, and we had it up on the screen. It was plain and simple and fresh, so everybody.
In that one summer was no more than 200 million. They might have spent 400 million over a few years.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about one summer.
Oh, I was talking about that one summer. Yeah, you said that in that one, they solved that problem in one fell swoop.
Well,
and I'm saying that wasn't in one fell swoop.
Well, it was. They bought Mendy and Walker in the same summer. They solved that wing-back problem in one summer.
Yeah, they did, but they didn't spend 400 million on it.
No,
all I'm saying is let's get the facts accurate.
Yeah, they spent 400 million over the first few seasons, but that
summer, over the first few seasons, yes, but that's not in one fell swoop.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I'm just trying to get the facts right.
Yeah,
right. We're digressing. We're going to go on to Steven Gerrard.
Ooh, okay, all right. Because I'm gonna have my say on Steven Gerrard because I feel quite strongly about this. I think that this was the worst move he could probably make in his managerial career, and he's done it because the Premier League is the biggest league in the world. There's no two ways about it. But he could end up in a situation, and I think I was talking to you guys about this previously. I think on the last Arsenal stream, I think I brought it up. But he could be in a position where he could get relegated, and that's not a situation that he would want to be in as a manager, considering you was at Rangers and you was going to be playing in the Champions League against the top teams in the world at the highest level. So you were forgotten that. So you were forgotten. That's fine for you to disagree, Tony. You have your say in a second, yeah? But if you're telling me that Aston Villa is going to be playing in the Champions League in the next year or two...
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Dan. I can hear you.
Where would you see him going, though? Like, I mean, unless he obviously does a natural thing where he comes in like Klopp. But, I mean, that's a big move to replace Klopp with someone like Gerrard. Where do you see, you know, when people sack their managers, they tend to be struggling. So where do you see Gerrard going in other than Villa? Because they've got a good set of players there. And I can't see them going down. There's three worse teams than them, surely. They've got good players.
I think it's a brilliant move for him.
I think it's a great move as well. I think it's a great move.
It's a risk. It's a risk, but all of these jobs for Gerrard are going to be risks.
Exactly, because if they get relegated, you guys wouldn't be saying that. Next summer, if they go down... No, guys, come on. We're old enough and wise enough to know no team's good enough to not go down. Tony, go on.
Okay. But let me just point this out to you, Apollo. Better managers have been relegated. Better managers like Rafa Benitez has managed a team in the first division in the championship. Yeah, so let's not. I think we're getting.
Where would you see him going, Apollo?
The Premier League is the be all and end all, and if you don't succeed in the Premier League, then you're not a good manager. I'm sorry, that's a wrong equation. There's plenty of money to be made outside
Where would you see
of the
him
Premier
going,
League.
Apollo? If you're Gerrard, who are you waiting for? Who are you waiting for? What level?
Well, his target is obviously going to be Liverpool. That's his target.
Yeah, but I mean,
maybe not.
Klopp,
but you know,
could be holding on to Klopp for years, surely.
They could be, but look, Arsenal had that dream with Arteta. It happened. Chelsea had their team with Frank Lampard. It happened. Man United had the dream with Ole. It happens. It happens.
Okay,
so
guys.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. That is what Steven Gerrard wants. He wants the Liverpool job.
Yeah, but he also needs the Premier League experience.
Thank you.
Right,
Yeah.
That's what he needs.
Well,
the bottom line is going to Aston Villa. My personal view is, even though I'm a Liverpool fan, is that I think that's a great move for him because he cuts his teeth against the top teams within the Premier League. How well they do, whether they stay in the top 10 or they get relegated, right now for me it's neither here nor there. He needs to get his Premier League experience. Villa is a good shout that they're not going to get relegated. Yeah, they're not expecting him. They're not expecting him to win the league. Yeah, they're not expecting
I've got
him.
David O'Leary, Leeds United, Arsenal. That whole thing is fresh in my mind. I've never forgotten about that because it hurt us when he went to
all I want to say is staying at Rangers is stunting your career because it's a pub league. Yeah, you play 1 to 2 teams a year in your league. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but forget Rangers at the moment because when you look at what Brendan Rodgers has done, he's gone to Leicester. All right, go on.
Hang on. Great, Brendan Rodgers, great success story. Not so great for Neil Lennon. But let's be honest, yeah. Rangers in the Champions League. Do they even get out the qualifying stages?
No, that's nothing. That's 3 games of shit.
They're playing in the Europa League.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
Rangers Champions League is nothing.
Rangers?
Yeah, so I can't agree with that. You're playing against the best, and some of the results that Celtic and Rangers have had over the decades against the big teams like Barcelona and that are legendary. You don't.
But they're not doing it now, Apollo. They haven't been playing those games for years.
But that doesn't mean anything to me, Andy. The reason is because you have to be in it to win it. So Arsenal and Spurs are not in the Champions League. So there's a certain level of players that you can't attract. When you're in there and they're
not attracting the players at Rangers. They haven't got the money to do it.
exactly. That's why I'm saying the Champions League is
Do
important
you think
to
he should have
develop
won
a
the League
team.
of Rangers again and then moved and then waited for Liverpool? Is that what
Yeah, I think so. Or even try to. I don't think he would come in as
trying
another
to think
skipper.
about
Apollo,
I don't think none of that would.
even if that was his plan,
Chelsea, no. Everton, no.
even if that was his plan, yeah, even if that was his plan, Apollo, right? He needs more experience, and he needs experience in the Premier League. Yeah, staying at Rangers is not giving him that. Yeah,
because I think it is giving him experience.
No, not in the Premier League. It gives him experience as a manager.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It gives him experience as a manager. Look, Arteta didn't have experience as a manager. Frank Lampard had experience in lower leagues. Solskjaer, he had experience abroad. Patrick Vieira had experience abroad.
Yeah, but what you got to remember is Gerrard is a very young manager. He hasn't been
all young,
a manager. No, when I say young, I'm not saying young as in age, as in he hasn't been in the game that long.
Yeah, none of them have.
And he's the thing is, that's what I'm saying. So when you're talking about managers like that going to the big clubs, the clubs don't want them to have 1 or 2 years experience in the Premier League. They want to know that they can cut it in the Premier League before they consider him.
I agree with that, Neil.
And that's what he needs. And that's why I'm saying that the Aston Villa appointment is a good move for him right now, because he's not expected to go to Liverpool in the next 2 years or so.
Sorry, Darren, go on.
You're winning games with Danny Ings in your side. If you can set that team up, he's such a good player up top. All he needs to do is go in there. He's probably got a bit stale under Dean. Obviously, Dean Smith played a way where he had to, play with Jack Grealish. That obviously went a bit right because he lost his player. Gerrard doesn't have that. He's just it's a new blank page. So I think he goes in there and he just gets Danny Ings on the end of balls. They're staying up. And then they've obviously got money, so that's probably what he's looking at. A club with strikers that can score goals to keep. Because most teams that go down, let's face it, some of them play great football, but if no one's there to put it in the back of it, they go down. Because you look at them, they've got Watkins, they've got Danny Ings, as I keep saying, they've got Midfield, they've got some good defenders. I think they've got a good side, and it just needs a little bit of a tweak. I think it got a bit stale under Dean Smith, and I think that's not a bad. I think it's quite a good little move for him, to be fair.
No, it is, and him going to Aston Villa is not going to put a lot of pressure on him either, because nobody's expecting Villa to blast away every team in there. They're expecting Villa to stay in the Premiership, and that's a good move for him to start off with. Yeah, and then all he has to do is just then start getting the results and start moving up and bringing up his reputation and getting the experience. That's all he needs to do right now.
Well, we'll definitely revisit it.
I think Gerrard gets Villa in the top 10. Which I think is a good, from where he's taken over from, will do for them this season. And he's got a good enough squad there to at least challenge for a Europa League place.
Yeah, but even if he doesn't, I guarantee they're not going to get rid of him.
That Europa League place is tough, man. that Europa League spot is getting as hard as top 4 right now.
Yeah, I agree. What I'm saying is he'll finish top 10. And he could challenge with that squad. He might not. But he's certainly got a good enough squad to challenge for Europa League.
Yeah, okay. So I'm in the minority, but we'll just have to wait to see next summer where we are on that.
Move on to
I'm not saying they're going to get relegated. I said if they get relegated, it would be one of the most comical moves that I've ever seen in Premiership history. Anyway, that's my view on it. Darren, do you have a set of headphones?
Yeah, here, mate. Can you not hear me?
Oh, I didn't know you were wearing them. Yeah, I can hear you, but Andy's still having problems hearing you.
I can hear bits and pieces, but it's just breaking up a lot.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, guys, can I just say, when Darren speaks, I think we all need to be quiet because he sounds much better when no one else is talking.
Yeah. Okay, guys, so what do you think of Kante? Let's go with Darren first on Kante. Darren, what's your thoughts on Kante? Good move for Spurs, good move for him?
Clap for Spurs. They're like massive signing. I mean, it's Spurs. Come on, it's Spurs, and they've got Antonio Conte. What can I say? That is for him. I'm not so sure, but for Spurs, wow! Look, you can't get better than that. You can't get better than that. It's a great signing.
So all I'm saying is, I looked at it as another Mourinho switch, which I know Andy doesn't agree with me, but I think Conte, we talked about Pep and we talked about Mourinho and how they've been given all this money. And when I look at Conte, his methods have proved extremely successful with or without money, with big teams and with sort of average run-of-the-mill teams as well. For me, he's won 6 major trophies, Juventus, Chelsea, Inter, Milan. For me, that proves that he must be doing something right as well. So I think it's a great signing for Spurs. And I think it's the jury's going to be out on whether it's a great signing for Conte, because they didn't really back Mourinho. I don't know whether they're going to back Conte. Andy believes that they will, and if they will, then they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
What is he going to do with Dyer, Rodon? I mean, what other rubbish they got there? Sorry, Spurs fan, but Jesus, like, that squad has aged. It has moved on. It needs. I mean,
in the time that Arsenal have bought Saliba, Ben White, Gabriel, Spurs have needed a centre back for 2 years, and they've not. What have they done?
Yeah.
Well, we bought Romero.
I knew you'd say that.
Is that good? I don't know. Is that good?
Romero was a top defender in Serie A last season.
Okay, I don't know. I didn't see him. I didn't see him.
He's always man of the match for Argentina. He was the other night against Brazil. Unfortunately, he got injured in the game, and he's going to be missing the next 2 or 3 weeks at least.
Look, so amazing for a manager. Amazing manager who signed, and that is, I think. We'll see.
Just let me know when you want me to talk about Conte.
Yeah, let's go with Darren. Have you said what you needed to about Conte? You finished?
Yeah, all good. All good.
Yeah. Tony, you go first, and then we'll go to Neil, and then we'll let Andy summarize it up.
So yeah, it's a good signing. I mean, you got to look at what he's going to do with the players he's got. I think he's going to make some changes in January. He's going to make further changes in the summer. I think this is the same that applies with Gerrard. It applies the same with Smith. These guys they need to be given time. Don't expect Dean Smith to work miracles at Norwich. His job is to find a method of playing that gets them some form of success. But I don't think owners are thinking, oh, he's going to get them out of relegation trouble. I think they're thinking, you know what, when we go down this summer, whatever you do, it paves the way for an immediate return to the summer after. With Gerrard, as we've said, I don't believe they're expecting him to get top 4 this summer, but I think they're looking for him to establish something so that with the money that Villa have got, that they can do something the following season and the season after. Just the same as Arsenal. Arteta came in and it's taken him now a year and a bit, but he's getting his players, and now he's get his players, we can see what's going on, and we're all enthused by that. So I think, that's the sum of what's going on with managers in the league right now. Every manager that comes in has to be given time to work with the players, see what he likes, see what he doesn't like, and given the budget to buy the players that he feels will fit into his system. And I think you need to include Patrick Vieira in that as well, because I don't expect I expect him to be in a lot of trouble this season. They haven't started terribly, but I do expect a lot of trouble. And if you look at Patrick Vieira's previous clubs, he hasn't got a great CV.
Yeah, you're right.
Are you saying you think Patrick Vieira's in trouble?
I think he will be in trouble by the end of the season. He's not in trouble right now, Andy.
Palace have been one of the best teams I've watched this season.
I agree.
I totally understand what you're saying.
I think Vieira's done a fantastic job in a short space of time.
But will that be the same at the end of the season is what I'm going to say.
I don't think they're in any danger of relegation.
Well, we'll see, Andy. We'll see at the end of the season.
Yeah,
same thing you said about Aston Villa could be the same.
They played both us and you off the park.
Yeah, but we'll be seeing. Look, a lot of teams can play early league football and look fantastic, and by the end of the season, they're fighting relegation. So, as you said, wait till the halfway point.
I'm just looking at their performances against the top sides. They went to Man City and won. They beat us comfortably, and you got a lucky last-minute equaliser against them.
Mad.
Cool. Do you want me to kind of put my 2 pence worth in now?
Yeah, go on, Neil.
No, seriously. Kante going to Spurs. To be honest, that's a coup. That's a coup for Spurs. I think he'll take the team forward. He'll do well at Spurs, provided he gets the time, because that's the most important thing. A lot of these managers coming in, sometimes they use the stopgaps. I mean, when you look at, who was it? Was it Watford about 2 seasons ago? They must have gone for about 4 or 5 different managers. And one manager they used twice, and they still got relegated. Yeah, so it's all about time. Time is the most important thing. Yes, these guys are all new with these teams, Gerrard, Kante and Smith, but they're there to kind of stop the flooding that's happening with those teams at the moment, settle the ship, and then start moving them forward. And that's all, as long as they get the time this season, you will see the results next season.
That's a fair point. Before I go to Andy, let me just find out what the guys in the chat have been saying.
Quick note. Ability aside, Conte's. I think someone like Kante also reinvigorates someone like Harry Kane, because not just Conte's ability, just the fact that Harry Kane is going to see that manager walking the ball, he's going to stand taller, he's going to fight harder. I just think it changes that mindset. It's that mindset of, do you know what, we actually could potentially do it. Whether he gets the tools to do it, whether Levy gives him what he needs, but that mindset now with Harry Kane. I think before he probably thought, do you know what, I'm stuck with this guy at Wolves who plays the same style of football as Mourinho. Like, I'm going to play the same football. We're not doing anything. Might as well just move on. Whereas now, I think just a little bit more.
I think Darren's connection struggling a little bit there.
Yeah. Just to reiterate on what Kirk said about Eddie Howe at Newcastle, I personally think for Eddie Howe, that is the coup of the century.
Yeah, it is.
That's the coup of the century. He's never had that sort of money in all the teams he's managed previously.
That's why
he put it all together.
Right. Yeah? So on my channel last week, I did a video that said, now we're going to see what Stones, Tony uses the term metal. We're going to see what his metal's like, because he was supposed to be the Wenger sort of, the new leash on Arsenal before Arteta came in. And we chose to go with Arteta. But before that, Eddie Howe was supposed to be the chosen child. He was supposed to be the new. So we're going to see what he's going to do with all this money. But yeah, good point. Bertram says we've lost Andy. We've lost Darren. Sorry. Bertram says Andy, Pellegrini and Mancini won at Man City. He says you could win at Man City. That's a good point there. And I think Andy could win at Man City. Kurt says if he does well at Villa, he'll replace Klopp at Liverpool. But yes, both of the contracts up 2024. And that's what I'm saying. That's what Ollie, Frank, Arteta, all them guys, that's what they've lined up to do. Gerrard wants the Liverpool job. Cool Case saying they've got Salah. That alone might be enough. Our entire team only has 3 more goals than him. Oh dear. And then he says, Neil, good message for Neil. Neil has really come alive on the streams. Great character, so smooth. Here you go, Neil.
Hey, I got a fan. Thanks, Cool Case.
And then he says, also, G was right. Darren is a dude. They're calling Darren a dude.
Hey.
Nice one. Andy, what's your thoughts on Kante? I want you to go in depth as much as you can, because I want to know what they saw in the signing and what they expect from him as well. Obviously, they want to win the league. But do you think they're going to back him in the way they didn't back Mourinho?
Yes, I think they will, because I think, but maybe it'll wait till the summer. I'm not certain there will be a huge amount available in January. He'll be given any money from any player sales, but again, that's not likely to be huge in January. but I think they will work on a few things. I think what I've been encouraged by hearing is the things he's been doing with because he's got quite an extensive team of fitness coaches and all sorts of other things that have gone in there, and they've literally put a rocket up the place, as far as I can see, in terms of changing things and how they're going to go about their methods, which is exactly what Spurs has needed for a long, long time. You need to have a winning mentality if you're going to start winning things. And I think he's gone in there and he's trying to change the mentality. Now, that's going to take time. I think Mourinho tried, but Mourinho, I think, just winds too many people up and it kind of all falls down. I think Spurs have got a lot of things in place. We've got all the infrastructure in place, the stadium, the training facilities, to be a huge club. We needed a huge manager, and Kante is it. He's about the best, one of the best options we could have. Well, he's probably the best option that there was out there. I'm still staggered United didn't go for him.
Yeah, me too.
But I mean, we'll take that all day long. But we've managed to get him. Levy's moved swiftly to get him, and I'm really pleased that he has. So we've now got a world-class stadium, a world-class training facilities, a world-class manager. We now just need a world-class team. And I think we've got some world-class players, but we are short of a world-class team without question. So he's got a lot of work to do. We need to put building blocks in the place for the future. Apparently they're completely tearing up the scouting network, and they're trying to do something new with the scouting network. He's sort of working with Paratici and Hitchin on that. So I think that they're putting the right building blocks in place, or they're going to over the next 6 months. I think everything there is designed for him to go full tilt from next season. I think he'll be using the rest of this season to assess what he's got, decide who he wants and who he doesn't want. And I think they'll make early moves in the summer so that he gets his team, because Spurs are notorious for leaving it late in the transfer window, which doesn't give the manager time to work with the players pre-season. I think Kante will be saying, I want my business done before the players come back for pre-season. And I think he'll go full tilt next season. His job this season, in my opinion, is one job and one job only: to try somehow to nick that fourth spot. I think it's a tall order from where we are, but it isn't impossible. And the question will be if he can get us going on a run. And I think that's a tall order, because obviously you've got West Ham going for that, Arsenal going for that, Manchester United going for that. I don't think anyone else is stopping the top. I think the top three will be in some order: City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. I think everyone else is fighting for fourth spot on the Europa places. My hope is that he can manage it. But if he misses out, we need to get a Europa League place and be in the mix so that he can have a good start next season. And I think that's where the plans are there. And I think Levy will open the purse strings for Kante, because if you look at the FFP rules, Spurs have more money available to spend than any other team in the country, as far as I can tell. I reckon something like 400 and something million that we're able to spend because we've been so prudent for so long.
And because of the stadium income as well.
That's what's happening. I think Levy's waiting for more of that income to come in. When it does, then I think you'll see him loosen the purse strings. And I'm hoping that will be in the summer. And obviously, if we can get something in January, that'd be great.
Where are these rules coming from? Where these you're allowed to spend all that money rules coming from? Because I'm pretty certain ain't nobody else playing that game anymore.
There was a thing released last week or the week before with the amounts that each club in the Premier League is able to spend under FFP rules, paying their budgets from the lot.
Well, all that needs to happen is an owner has to put his money into the hat and he can spend that money.
No, that's not how
Yes.
it works. No, it's
is
not.
how it works. It's been
got to be
working
earned.
like that for eons, brother. So how?
Got to be earned by the
explain to
football
me,
club,
if
Tony.
FFP
But
does-
Tony-
if FFP,
Yeah,
if FFP works the way
Tony.
you're
Remember
saying it is, yeah, go ahead.
Tony. Remember they earned 48 million on the Champions League run alone into the final. Remember
Yeah, no,
that?
I'm not saying
that
that
was-
Spurs. I'm not saying Spurs can't spend that money, but to say they're the only club that can spend that amount of money is false to me. Because if Man City
No, they're not the only club.
400 million, they know how to
Yeah.
change the rules so that they can spend 400 million. They just need
Yeah,
to put money in
exactly.
the training ground or add a sponsor, and all of a sudden, boom, they can spend 500 million, and they'll be the top spenders.
Based on the FFP rules as they should operate.
Yeah.
They don't operate, Andy.
That's what the rule. That's what. Sorry.
But they don't operate that way.
Yeah, because they Man City bend the rules, don't they? They don't operate. They've got the. We
And that-
know from the.
And that's why all the Premier League clubs are objecting about Newcastle, because they'll know Newcastle will be able to do exactly the same thing.
Exactly, Andy. That is my point. You're saying it like everybody adheres to financial fair play. Not true.
No, I'm only telling you about the report that came out last week.
But haven't Everton had to sort of stop their spending because of it?
Yeah.
So
That's
I'm pretty
what
sure
I'm
they've
saying.
had to stop it,
Teams that are abiding by the rules are having to work within FFP. Spurs are abiding by the rules. Everton are abiding by the rules. What's happening is certain teams like...
What have Spurs and Everton won? Nothing.
Okay.
Both
Yeah,
clubs
all right.
have got no trophy.
Tony, what have Arsenal won in the last whatever?
You won the FA Cup last year, mate.
Yeah, an FA Cup.
We beat Chelsea.
Are we really having this conversation?
Yeah, we
I
are.
can remember 20. What were you winning 20 years ago, Tony?
20
what were
years
you
ago,
winning 20 years ago?
we did the double under Arsene Wenger, didn't we?
Are you even making that argument, bro?
Yeah.
Are you really? Because I've got a bunch of.
How have you guys gone from FFP to trophies?
It's that Tottenham Arsenal thing.
Because,
I know,
because the Arsenal fans can't give it up.
In my lifetime,
They're
bro,
both getting their
I've
small
seen
dicks
more
out and just having a little fight with
I've
them.
seen more championships won than you've had finals.
I was having a perfectly normal conversation about Kante.
You know,
He was going about FFP,
won.
how much have you won?
You know what makes me laugh? I don't know whether you guys can see the screen, but where Tony's sitting, he's got a crown just above his head. No, I'm talking about the actual stream, Tony. If you look at the picture of the stream, you've got a crown. It's hilarious. I didn't notice it before.
Listen, no Tottenham fan can ever test me.
Darren's coming through super smooth right now.
I know, yeah. I think I've nailed it on the connections.
Yeah, Darren, you're not spitting anymore on the voice, and your video is super smooth. You're not jumping around all the place. So let me see what the guys are saying here. Cool K says Andy's green with envy.
He is green actually on the screen.
18 said didn't Spurs want Saliba? Yeah, they did. He said could see them going after him. And then Arsenal they're not gonna pull the trigger on that, mate. He says Jimmy Jones, there are posters who actually want Arteta to lose. Disgusting stuff. Hope we win 3-0. How can you go to Anfield and win 3-0? He's smoking something. He's smoking that shit. And then this will be the game that will unite the fan base as we saw into the top 4. 18 saying Andy is my favorite pundit. Hate that he's a Spurs fan, but the guy knows football and tennis, by the way. Yeah, he does his tennis, man.
This is the acid test for Arsenal.
Get them to a room.
This is the acid test.
There's a loving going on.
Andy's gonna have to fight Ebony first and Andrew. Oh Lord! All right, guys.
So anyway, boys, just quickly before we finish.
Yeah.
Tony Apollo.
Yeah.
You're 4 points above us in the league. Do you believe Arsenal will finish above Spurs this week?
You're still talking, Andy.
Yes, I do. I think it will be St. Tottenham Day soon.
So put your shirt where your mouth is now.
You can't fit in this shirt, Andy. You know it. I know you've lost a lot of weight,
I'm saying now. Whoever finishes top above each other this season, you have to come on wearing the other one's shirt.
Oh, shit. You can take that back, Tony, because I ain't putting announcements. I will get absolutely, my subscribers will go down from 6,000 to 0.
We'll make it 6 years in a row above you.
Oh, God.
That'll be interesting to see who actually comes in on the last podcast wearing the other shirt. That'd be nice to see.
But that tells you how much Andy believes in Kante, though. That's really good. That's a good sign. Guys, I don't want to spend too much time on next week's fixtures, so I just want to go around the table. Tony, I can start with you, and you can tell me which games you're looking forward to the most. Some big, juicy ones there, man.
Obviously, our game away tomorrow evening against Liverpool is a massive game. Other than that, Leicester-Chelsea will be interesting because Leicester have slipped off the pedal a little bit recently, but can they come back after their international break? And I think they probably haven't had that many players going away as Chelsea would have done, so they might have benefited from that.
Tell you what, Burnley's going to give Palace a tough one. It's hard to win up there, man.
That's a good game.
It's hard to win up Turf Moor.
And then Tottenham Leeds. That's going to be interesting to see Kante against Bielsa. That's an interesting game.
Yeah. Do you know what? The interesting game for me would be the Watford Man United game. That's going to be so one-sided.
I'm scared.
Yeah, Watford will clearly win 10-0, but we'll have to see what happens.
Mad. Mad. Anything else though, Neil?
Looking at that, the Leicester-Chelsea is going to be an interesting game. Do you know what? Norwich-Southampton. See how Norwich do under their new manager. It'll be interesting to see if they actually start putting, passes together and actually start scoring goals, or whether they lose another game.
I think Norwich are going to win 1-0.
Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. One thing that we've all got to remember is that whenever a new manager comes in, those players play out their socks for their first few games. And it's like a completely different team. So it'll be interesting to see where they actually go. But I think the Norwich-Southampton game, even though people think, that's like a low-end game, I think that's going to be a pretty interesting game.
Andy, what's your pick of the bunch?
I think obviously the Liverpool-Arsenal game is going to be a huge match. I fully expect Liverpool to win, but it wouldn't shock me if Arsenal got a draw. I can't see Arsenal winning it. It would be, I think, it would be a sign of Arsenal's steady improvement, which has definitely no doubt happened this season. If Arsenal could go to Anfield and get any kind of result, a draw, or even if they, put in a really good performance and maybe go down 2-1 or something like that, that wouldn't be a disgrace.
Can you guys stop jinxing Liverpool? That's why I don't say anything about Liverpool for that game. Stop jinxing the team, please.
God.
I expect Liverpool to win that game. Watford Man United could be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what Man United turns up at Watford. Yeah. Ranieri's quite good at getting teams to play on the counter-attack. No doubt United will have a lion's share of the possession, I dare say.
He did say he would love to have Ronaldo in his team.
Well, yeah. But I mean, you'd expect Man United to win this football match, but it depends on whether the Man United players want to win the football match. Because it certainly seemed to me, for at least a couple of games, that they weren't really putting it in for Ollie. Now,
if they've been I've been making it up then.
I'm intrigued on a couple of things.
So I was going to say, are you saying that Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire are just putting in that terrible gameplay? It's just all gameplay.
Well, I think both Shaw and Maguire are having a Euros backlash. that they've definitely not been fit. I don't think this season they haven't really recovered from the Euros thing.
I think with us, Man United, there's three things I'm intrigued about Saturday. Is style of play. Is he going to go back to the 2-3-1 and then play all the prima donnas people that don't run around, and go back to that. Because if he does, he might as well pack his bags because it weren't working. Is he going to go for that defensive unit that he had at Spurs, where they're all up and down, small gaps, and then hopefully winning big moments with Ronaldo, which I think's not a bad way to play in terms of winning football matches? And also, is he going to play those fringe players that need to be played, like your Van der Beeks, Lingard, or is he just going to stick with the same old bunch? Because again, he might as well hang himself if he does that again. So we'll see. Like,
well, this is what got Nuno the sack at Spurs. Was apparently when he separated the squads for the Europa League game, and he sent basically our reserve team away to we went away away to Vitesse Arnhem, and he basically sent the reserve team out there, and he kept the full first 11 in England, and basically that apparently sent a massive divide through the squad, because they.
What I don't understand is I mean, I haven't seen a lot from Van der Beek in terms of if we had a very good centre midfield. I think he's a little bit lightweight. He fits and starts throughout a game, but the players that are playing in that position aren't playing very well. So why does it matter? Just play him.
Well, I can say I remember that I saw Van der Beek live when Ajax played Spurs in the semi-final of the Champions League 2 years.
Brilliant. But
and Van der Beek was exceptional at that time.
Yeah, it was a system, right? He played in a way of playing. So, you know, some players need that.
United aren't offering him that. No. I personally think Van der Beek's future lies away from Manchester United, unless United would say bring in Ten Hag.
Yeah.
And then maybe he could get the best out of Van der Beek. But
I don't think he was Nolly signing though. I maintain that it's another disconnect between our manager wanting to do something.
Yeah,
he's got a way of playing football, and then the people above him who are bankers and wankers going,
merchant bankers.
I can get this name for 40 million. This name who doesn't play, who isn't used to playing Premier League football, isn't used to playing Man United's football. There you go, have him. And Ollie's gone, well, hang about.
And that's been the Malaysian at Spurs as well for years. They buy players that don't really work for the manager that's there.
And who gets the stick though? It's Ollie, and that's why I'm not an Ollie outer in terms of like I can see the pitfalls, I can see what everyone else sees, but I'm not an Ollie outer because I do think to myself, who are above him doing the right things for him, and I don't know if they completely are.
Well, I think Ronaldo could be the thing, weirdly, despite Ronaldo winning keeping Ollie in a job supposedly and winning in football matches, I think Ronaldo could also be his death knell.
Yeah.
Because having to change the team to accommodate Ronaldo is what's really suffocating Ollie's ability to form a plan going forward, really.
Yeah,
he's everybody else other than himself.
Should have gotten a centre midfielder worth his salt, Basuma, Rice, whatever you can get, like decent centre midfielder, and just gone with Greenwood and Rashford, like you was going to, chasing down the defenders, playing that high intensity football, and now you're stuck between trying to do that with a bloke that won't do that, but he will bail you out if games are tight. And this is what's happening. He's bailing us out when games are tight. But Man United games shouldn't be tight. Week in, week out. Shouldn't be tight.
He's not going to bail you out when you play City because
he's not.
He's anonymous in that game.
Yeah, that was strange. I was disappointed in Ronaldo in that game.
Yeah, but mate, he
didn't get the ball, did he? He doesn't get the ball in that game.
Yeah.
It's like Harry Kane for Spurs at the moment. He just doesn't get the ball.
Yeah. He's not out of form. The team's awful. Well,
yeah, exactly.
Like, I feel for him. But we'll see. I still think the right man for Manchester United is Pochettino. Plays the right football, is good with the media, and he is young and he likes young players. So
we're obviously still hoping that the reason they've only given Kante an 18-month contract is because Pochettino will come back to us.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So G says, Darren, is this widespread optimism a consequence of a deal made between Man United's board and trusted members on an invisible section us mortals can't see?
That's a good question.
That? Is this?
You know, I've always been.
That? Is this one?
I think, in other words, so with Arsenal, there was always something. I call it the undercurrent. So you see this tsunami underneath the ocean just wreaking havoc and riling up this thunderous wave that's going to topple mountains and sweep houses over and everything. But all of that distortion is happening at the bottom, and you're losing games, and guys are getting not performing, and the manager's getting stick and everything else. But actually, on the top of the ocean, it's silent. The water's not moving. Everything is calm. Everything is still. And that's sort of like how I look at development and teams in transition. And of course, the likes of where Arteta has been in the last season and a half, where everything was being done behind the curtains to the point where it is now. And that is where teams are hesitant to give managers a chance. You know, we talked about Steven Gerrard, didn't we? You have to give him the budget. You got to give him the time. He's got to get rid of the players who don't want to be here. You've got to change the culture. You've got to then get them to play the way he wants to play and all that. It's a long process. It doesn't happen overnight. But I think that's what G is saying here in terms of, you know, do you think there's this, the optimism is a consequence of the board having agreement with the trusted members, and we can talk about your Hall of Fame players, Bobby. We can talk about Bobby. We can talk about Alex Ferguson. We can talk about Ollie. Those are the guys who are giving their 2 cents, talking to the board, letting them know that Ollie has to be in this position and he has to go through these teething problems. Do you think that is something that is happening? I believe that's what this guy's saying.
I don't know.
Because otherwise you just say, no, it ain't going to work, get rid of the manager, which a lot of Arsenal fans do.
I'm not there. I'm not there yet. He's done a lot of good. He's done a lot of good. I can see the pitfalls like everyone else. That's my concern. It's you know, some of the style of play. You look at it and you think, but the caveat to that is some of these top teams, even the Chelsea manager's gone in there. The group of players they've got like 4 centre midfielders that could walk into Manchester United's side. Then centre midfield for me personally, and centre back is your most important part of the pitch. Yeah. That's the best way. And Chelsea had what? Who they got? Jorginho, Kante,
Christensen,
Kovacic, and you know, Man United have got McTominay and Fred. I mean,
they're great players, mate.
Is Fred still there?
And also one player is unfortunately. I mean, I don't think it was a bad signing considering where Manchester United were at the time. We were 6th and 7th.
Is that Bailey?
The right back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Oh, I don't rate
I mean, it's, as a signing, not too bad. Young, ferocious, good in the tackle. You think, oh, if we can just work with him on the pitch, he might be good going forward eventually. But to build from the back and play certain systems of playing football, when you've got a player like that where you give him the ball and you just know that nothing's going to come from it,
yeah.
How can you build a
solid defensive right back to play in a team that plays probably with a low block? He's not a player that's going to play in a progressive.
Yeah. He's a player that will win Player of the Season for every team that is in the bottom half. He'll win Player of the Season because he'll do crunch and tackles. He'll like contribute to clean sheets, and you'll think he's amazing. Stick him in a team that needs to play the ball round people. Nah.
That's why I was confused why Spurs didn't buy Tomiyasu. I was like, what is going on here? I mean, I know Andy said that they're happy with the guy that they bought, but Tomiyasu, man, jeez, what a player for 18 million.
But Tomiyasu himself thought he was coming to Spurs.
Yeah, he did.
Until the last 48 hours. And then we decided to go for Emerson, which left you free to go for Tomiyasu. It was possibly a strange move, but obviously they believed there was more, progression in Emerson. I've seen things I like about Emerson. I'm not convinced completely yet, but maybe it'll work out for him. I don't know. He's certainly a decent attacking fullback.
Yeah.
Not sure about him defensively yet.
It's very early though, especially
it is. But I see. I don't. You look at Max Aarons. You look at Lamptey. You look at those kind of players. And
Lamptey's decent. I like Lamptey.
Yeah,
I think if we'd have got in Trippier, we would be doing better this year. Better player on the ball.
Having watched him for 2 or 3 years at Spurs, I'm not convinced he's what you need either. But maybe.
No, but he's better on the ball than Wan-Bissaka for a little while. For a little while.
He's got better delivery than Wan-Bissaka, definitely.
Yeah.
So, guys, I'm going to leave it right there. And thank you, everybody, for attending.
Cool.
Normally, I'm out with my daughter at university, but she's got a really tough course that she's going on now. So, because that's why normally Bertrand or Tony would be hosting. But I want to thank you guys for attending. We are opening up ourselves for a week full of some fantastic football. And don't forget the Formula One weekend, 3 races to go. Can Lewis Hamilton become a 8th-time world champion?
Lewis all the way, mate. Lewis all the way.
It's going to go down right tomorrow.
Not if the Formula One stewards are going to do with it.
Yeah, and them stewards, I don't know what is going stewards. I don't know what's going on.
Verstappen basically ran Hamilton off the track.
Yeah.
And then weaved around in front of him. And never got a penalty for any of it.
Never got a penalty for any of it. I just can't believe it, man.
And you've got video replay. And how, what's going on? Apparently, there's some new video footage from Verstappen's camera. I don't understand.
Yeah, they showed that.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
I'm just looking forward to Drive to Survive. That's it. 3 races, Drive to Survive, another series. You guys watch it, yeah?
Drive to Survive. What channel's that on?
No.
What, Netflix? Drive to Survive, innit?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Yeah. Drive to Survive.
On.
That's amazing.
I'll check it out.
You like F1, you must like that.
Yeah. I love it, mate. All right, guys. So I'll see you guys next week. And tomorrow, guys, don't forget, for all of you guys who are listening to the stream, I know we're live on Facebook, we're live on Twitter, we're live on YouTube right now. So I forgot to say what's up to everybody in Twitter land and those who are watching the stream on Facebook. We are going to be doing the watch along for Liverpool Arsenal tomorrow. So join me at 5:15, and then we can watch the game together and see where we are. And but I want to thank everybody for attending this podcast. So, and thank you to everybody. Thanks to all the panel. Darren, nice one. It was good to see you tonight, mate. Really guys. Integrated well. You too as well, issues. Neil. Yeah, cool. It looked okay, man.
Try not to hammer Man United too much about a 1-0 loss to Watford.
Well, you don't know what Watford you're going to get. They beat Everton 5-2 and then they go and lose 5-0 to Liverpool. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but I bet they score early.
Oh, didn't United lose that with that score against Liverpool?
I think United.
I just thought I'd drop that one.
Oh, mate, Neil, we've got an hour and 22 minutes. Hour and 22 minutes.
I tried, mate. I tried not to say anything, mate. I tried not to say anything.
All right, that's it.
All right, guys. I'll see you soon, man. Peace. Right back at you.
All right, gents. Have a good weekend.